It starts with dancing goats. Seriously. Picture this. The misty Ethiopian highlands, maybe 1,200 years ago. A young goatherd named Kaldi notices his flock acting strangely energetic, even frisky, after nibbling bright red berries from a certain bush. Curious, Kaldi tries the berries himself. A wave of alertness, a surge of energy unlike anything he'd felt before washes over him. He feels awake. That simple moment of curiosity, a herder and his hyperactive goats, is where our story begins. But here's the shocking truth you never knew. That little berry, destined to fuel empires and revolutions, spark conversations and create fortunes, was almost lost to history. For centuries, its power was a secret guarded by monks and mystics. Its journey fraught with religious bans, political intrigue, and near-disastrous misunderstandings. What transformed this obscure African fruit into the world's most traded commodity after oil? How did a bitter bean conquer every continent, reshaping our workdays, our social lives, even our very brains? This isn't just the story of your morning cup. This is the hidden history of coffee. The accidental discovery that wired the modern world, and it involves monks, sultans, pirates, popes, and a revolution brewing in a cup. Strap in. The real story is far wilder than you imagine. Before coffee, the world was, well, frankly, a bit sluggish and often unsafe to drink. Imagine Europe and the Near East before the 15th century. Water was frequently contaminated, a breeding ground for disease. Beer and wine, even watered down, were staples from breakfast onwards. Safer, yes, but not exactly conducive to sharp thinking or sustained labor. The daily rhythm was slower, dictated by sunlight and alcohol's soporific effects. Intellectual pursuits, often reserved for the wealthy elite with time to spare. Social gathering spots were taverns. Rowdy, often drunken affairs, the concept of a focused, alert workforce operating beyond sunrise was limited. Humanity needed a safe, stimulating beverage. Something to clear the fog, sharpen the mind, and sustain energy without intoxication. People craved clarity, focus, and a reliable way to connect that didn't involve getting drunk. The Muslim world, expanding rapidly, faced long nights of prayer needing sustained wakefulness, scholars translating ancient texts in Baghdad or Cordova needed mental stamina. Sailors navigating treacherous seas required alertness. The world was yearning for a catalyst, a liquid spark to ignite human potential and connection. But nature hadn't yet offered a widely accessible solution. Life moved at a different pace, often muted, sometimes dangerous, lacking the vibrant hum of caffeinated society. The stage was set, the problem painfully clear. Humanity was stumbling through its days, half asleep or half drunk, waiting for a wake-up call. The solution wasn't going to be found in a laboratory or a king's court. It was waning, unnoticed, on a hillside in Abyssinia, observed only by a bewildered boy and his unusually animated goats. Now back to Kaldi, buzzing from those mysterious berries. He takes his find to the local monastery, hoping the wise abbot might understand. The legend says the abbot, horrified by this unnatural stimulant, throws the berries into the fire, denouncing them as the devil's work. But then, an aroma, an incredible, enticing fragrance fills the air as the beans roast in the flames. Intrigued despite himself, the abbot rakes them out, grinds the charred beans, and dissolves them in hot water. He sips the dark, bitter liquid, and just like Kaldi and the goats, he experiences the miracle: sustained alertness, perfect for long hours of prayer and study. That was the true invention moment, not just finding the berry, but unlocking its potential through roasting and brewing. The bitter brew became a monastic secret in Ethiopia and Yemen for centuries. Known as kawa, meaning that which prevents sleep, Sufi mystics used it to fuel their all-night rituals. But here's the human drama and near-miss. Coffee almost never left the Arabian Peninsula. Yemen guarded its precious coffee trees fiercely, forbidding the export of fertile bean. They only sold roasted or boiled beans, ensuring their monopoly. For nearly 300 years, coffee cultivation was confined to Yemen. Imagine if that embargo held, the global phenomenon we know might never have happened. It took ingenuity and daring to break the monopoly. The legend persists of Baba Budan, an Indian pilgrim visiting Mecca in the 17th century. Smuggling 7 fertile coffee beans strapped to his belly, he carried the seeds of a global revolution back to India. This act of defiance, risking severe punishment, was the critical leap. The moment coffee escaped its Arabian cradle and began its true journey around the world. The accidental discovery was refined by necessity, guarded by secrecy, and ultimately liberated by human cunning. From Baba Budan's smuggled beans, coffee cultivation slowly spread. First to India, then to the Indonesian archipelago, but its cultural explosion happened elsewhere. Arriving in the Near East via trade routes, coffee houses called kava kerne sprang up in Mecca, Constantinople, and Cairo by the 1500s. These weren't taverns. They were vibrant social hubs, dubbed schools of the wise. Patrons sipped coffee, discussed politics, literature, and business, played chess, and listened to music. It was revolutionary. A sober, intellectual public space. But here, a pattern interrupt. When coffee reached Europe via Venetian traders in the early 1600s, it faced fierce resistance. Clerics called it the bitter invention of Satan, urging Pope Clement VIII to ban it. The Pope, legend has it, decided to taste it first. His verdict: "This devil's drink is so delicious, we should cheat the devil by baptizing it." With papal approval, coffee's European conquest began. The first European coffee house opened in Venice in 1645, followed rapidly by Oxford, London, Paris, and Vienna. Vienna's story is key. After defeating the Ottoman siege, they discovered sacks of coffee beans left behind. A resourceful Pole, Franz Georg Kolschitsky, claimed them, opened the first Viennese coffee house, and allegedly invented filtering the grounds and adding milk and sugar, creating the smoother, sweeter style Europeans loved. Coffee houses became engines of the Enlightenment, penny universities where ideas flowed as freely as the brew. Lloyd's of London, the New York Stock Exchange, and countless revolutionary plots were born over coffee cups. Meanwhile, cultivation exploded globally. The Dutch broke the Arabian monopoly by stealing a plant and establishing massive plantations in Java. The French brought it to the Caribbean. The Spanish and Portuguese introduced it to Central and South America. By the 18th century, coffee was no longer a luxury, it was a global commodity. Its journey fueled by trade, colonization, and an insatiable demand for that precious, stimulating, dark liquid. Coffee didn't just wake people up, it fundamentally rewired society, with profound and often shocking consequences. Positively, it fueled the age of reason and the scientific revolution. The clarity and focus it provided fostered complex thought, debate, and innovation in those buzzing coffee houses. It created entirely new social structures, places where merchants, artists, scientists, and commoners could mingle as equals, sharing ideas. It arguably helped shift society away from alcohol dependence, improving public health and work ethic. The demand for coffee spurred global trade networks and financial innovations. But the dark side is impossible to ignore. Here's the real shock. The explosion of coffee cultivation in the New World was built on the horrific foundation of slavery and brutal exploitation. Vast plantations in Brazil, the Caribbean, and Central America demanded immense, back-breaking labor under inhumane conditions. Millions of enslaved Africans suffered and died to produce Europe and America's cheap coffee. The coffee boom fueled colonial expansion and entrenched economic inequalities that persist today. Culturally, coffee accelerated the pace of life. It enabled longer work hours, contributing to the Industrial Revolution's grueling schedules. It created new rituals, but also new dependencies. Caffeine addiction became widespread. Coffee houses, while hubs of free speech, also became targets for censorship. Monarchs and sultans repeatedly tried to shut them down, fearing sedition brewed alongside the coffee. The drink also reshaped economies, making some nations fabulously wealthy while leaving others impoverished and dependent on a single volatile crop. The environmental impact was significant too. Vast swathes of rainforest were cleared for sun-grown coffee monocultures. This humble bean became a powerful economic and political force, triggering wars, influencing social reforms, and embedding itself into the fabric of daily life with consequences, both bitter and sweet, that echoed far beyond the coffee cup. Today, coffee is a colossal global industry, worth over $100 billion, consumed by billions daily. It's more than a beverage, it's a cultural touchstone, a ritual, an economic engine, and a daily necessity for much of the world. From the artisan pour-over in a hipster cafe to the instant granules in a factory break room, it's ubiquitous. Its story is a masterclass in unintended consequences and the ripple effect of innovation. What began as an accidental discovery by a goat herd became a catalyst for scientific discovery, social revolution, and brutal exploitation, all wrapped up in a single bean. It teaches us that human ingenuity often stumbles upon solutions in unexpected places, driven by curiosity and need. But it also starkly illustrates how the pursuit of a desirable commodity can lead to profound human suffering, an environmental cost when unchecked by ethics. Coffee's journey highlights the interconnectedness of our world. A plant native to Ethiopia, refined in Arabia, smuggled to India, monopolized by the Dutch, cultivated by slaves in the Americas, and debated by popes in Europe, now connects farmers in Colombia, roasters in Seattle, and drinkers in Tokyo. It shows how a simple stimulant can reshape economies, define cities, and create entire subcultures. The evolution continues. Sustainability concerns, fair trade movements, and innovations in farming and brewing constantly reshape the landscape. Coffee's legacy is complex, a testament to human connection and ingenuity, but also a sobering reminder of the ethical responsibilities that come with our cravings. It proves that small inventions, born from simple observation, can indeed change everything, weaving themselves inextricably into the fabric of human history, for better and for worse. This story teaches us that world-changing ideas often bloom from humble, accidental moments. A curious herder, a monk defying convention. It shows human ingenuity, solving fundamental needs, but also warns of the unforeseen costs when progress ignores ethics. The next time you sip your coffee, pause. Think about the centuries of discovery, the human struggles, the global connections in that cup. What small problem could your curiosity solve today? What everyday object in your life has a hidden history worth uncovering? Did coffee's benefits ultimately outweigh its human cost? How has it shaped your daily rhythm? Share your thoughts below. If you found this hidden history fascinating, give us a like. It helps us uncover more stories like this. Subscribe to Brand Anatomy for more deep dives into the surprising past of ordinary things that shape our world. We'll be brewing up more revelations soon.